Hello, my name is Marc from jazzguitarlessons.net. Improve your jazz guitar playing with a real teacher. That's me. And welcome to your lesson on jazz improvisation, jazz guitar improvisation on bossa novas and Brazilian standards. So I will encourage you to check out the link here. Is it here or here? Not sure. For the associated blog post where we have all of these exercises written out in a friendly PDF. And also, I will encourage you to look at the timestamps we have both in the blog and in the description below where you can jump around the video. Some people say I talk too much in my lessons, so you can jump around to the juicy parts of the lessons you want to work on. So here's the plan for this lesson. It's going to be done in 3 parts. Number 1, I want to give you ammos and exercises on how to develop vocabulary for soloing on Desafinado, Girl from Ipanema, Corcovado, How Insensitive, all these old Jobim tunes, right? And I want to do this with a study technique that I want to get around with you that will be notated in your PDF you can download. And secondly, I want to take an interlude to show you how you can take this further in your own study, in your own time. This is just a germ of an idea, like it could really grow. And thirdly, I want to run a 4 or 5 minute demonstration. For those of you who want to stick around to the third part, you can find this in the description, where I'll actually just shut up, put the backing track on, and put the chord progression on the screen as it goes in Real Pro and actually do my thing. One thing that happens as an instructor on YouTube like this is when I try to demonstrate an exercise when it's oriented with jazz improv stuff, often I do a very poor job at demonstrating it because I find I'm constrained. So if you want to stick around for the demo, that's totally at the end of the video. So let's, before we jump into the first part with the exercise, here's the reason, la raison d'être in French, the reason why we built this lesson. So I had this conversation with actually a team member, a staff member at jazzguitarlessons.net, Francis, who said, you know, these bossa nova songs are so hard to improvise on because if you use the same old bebop, change running, I want to play the arpeggios over every chord and whatever, you're going to sound like crap very fast. So how do we develop vocabulary that makes sense without reinventing the wheel all the time? And what's an easy and sensible method for still being tied into what the tune is about and actually develop nice vocabulary? So that's how we got to it. So now let's go to part 1, where I'll show you actually the exercises on how to make this happen. Okay, let's start with the exercise section here, and the song we've selected to work on is Desafinado in the key of F. I'm not going to play the melody or have a playback because I love not being sued. It's really good. And YouTube gods, hear me out. I'm using this for educational purposes, for demonstration purposes. We're not stealing anything that's copyrighted. This is an exercise for music. So the song goes something like this, approximately. Right, that's the beginning. We'll use approximately the first 8 bars of Desafinado, so I encourage you to look at the real book or any other piece of reliable written music you can find this. So the exercise is the following. We will take the first motif, and the first motif, actually, it's the key of F major, so F, and it starts on a C note. And the first part actually is just this. That's what I would consider the first motif. And here's the exercise. And you're going to tell me, Marc, this is so simple. You just wait, hang around, stick around. You're going to see why it's fun. You're going to play this motif starting on every single scale degree of the scale for that. In this case, it's F major. So your scale is something like, right? And the song starts like this. And I'm going to disregard the rhythms completely right now, just stick on the scale tones, the notes, right? So C, D, E, F, E. So your task, should you accept it, and this is notated in your PDF, is to start this motif on every scale degree of F. So start on F and go, even out of time like this, F. Then start on the second scale degree. And then on the third, and then on the fourth, the fifth, that's actually starting on C, and then on the sixth, and then on the seventh, and then you're back to your F. All right. doing so, what you're building is actually, I would say, a whole bunch of ammos. You develop vocabulary that is played for that tune. But that's not all. This is the motif that happens at the first, let me just look at the lead sheet quickly. It's the first it's the first one bar, actually. If you want to be really thorough with that song, what you will have to do now, and I'll do it for the next chord only in the PDF and not the entire song, is to take the second chord. On certain sheets it just says G7, or it could be G13. Actually, because we have the melody goes here, C sharp or D flat. This is a G7 sharp 11. So the scale to use in this case is not a pure Mixolydian. We will have to take Mixolydian and raise the fourth. So this is pure Mixolydian. So it's just G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And now just raise the C to a C sharp. So G, A, B, C sharp, D, E, F. And I was saying like, okay, why should I care? Well, you will do the same homework as you've done in the first part with F. But you will do it from that G scale, that G7 sharp 11. People say Mixolydian sharp 4, people call it Lydian dominant, it doesn't matter, same thing. So we'll start on the G note and run your pattern. From the third, from the sharp 4, from the 6th, from the 7th, and then you're done, you're on G. Alright, so your mission, shall you accept it, is actually to look at this chord and say, oh, that's F, and then G7, and then G minor 7, and C7, etc. And for each of the chord in the song, go up your pattern like this. See, I see a lot of guys on YouTube, or, you know, even students practicing these patterns. Yes, of course you have to do this, but imagine if you took motifs that you found in pieces like this. More on that during the interlude. But now you're really playing the tune, and you're not just playing a bunch of lines and scales and patterns that fit, right? It's not like, oh, the arpeggio is this, so it must fit. It does, but if you want to make music, that's a great place to start. So to recap what we've done for the exercise that is seemingly simple, but that can take you a lifetime to master, is you take the scale of F and you take the first pattern, and you figure a way to do it on every scale degree for each of the scale found in the song. And it's a pretty long form. I guess this is over, it's almost like 36, or never mind. It's like 40 something bars. So it's a lot of different chords you have to go over. Now let's look at the tune again and pick the second motif, which is, I think, a little more interesting. Check this out. So we've done already, and the second part is all right. So we will say, can we do this on F major and start on the note F? So from the 1, we go 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so it goes. F, E, F, A, E, E. That's on the first degree. Then, and then on A, and then on B on the 4th, and then on the 5th, then on the 6th, and then on the 7th, and then we're back to 1. It's trickier than it looks, right? It's like, oh, okay, I know this, but do I really know the scale now? And now we will repeat the same process by going through it on the G7 sharp 11, which is, once again, your Mixolydian sharp 4. Let's do this slowly. I'm really afraid of making a mistake here, so that's starting on the tonic, on G, then start on A. Good. Start on B. Start on C sharp. Good. Start on D. That's the original from the song. Then start on E. Start on F, the 7th. And we're done. Good. So your mission, shall you accept it? You see we've done it with and can you take this through every scale that is going on through that song? So the result is twofold. Number one, you practice a lot of stuff. You practice a lot of different patterns, and you don't have to play them fast. You just have to find where they are. And number two, you have to commit to a decision to what scale is this? You know, A minor 7 flat 5, G flat major 7, or this, or E7 altered. What scale is this? And then you go, well, if there is such a scale, and it has 7 notes, how does it sound when I do this pattern? So we've done the first pattern, we've done the second pattern, but this song actually has way more, and you could run it this way. So that's the exercise. Now let's move on to I would call this the interlude, and I will say the third part of the video is the actual demo. The interlude is where I'll show you how you can take this much further than just being able to play the same pattern over different scale degrees. Interlude. All right, let's start talking about what you could do further if either you've done all of the stuff that I've assigned you in part 1, or if you're curious as to how you could take this a notch further. So number one, what you've done in the first exercise is just like exploring the scales and committing to scales and seeing if you can take the same pattern over the entire scale. You could have done this on disaffinado through all the different motifs you will extract from the song itself, from the melody, or you could do this on any other song you like that is simpler and shorter. Disaffinado is a monster song, it's very long. I'll point you to the of course, Stan Getz version, Jobim version, but also the Quincy Jones. It's like a large orchestra, I guess it's like a big band, and it's very well arranged and fun. So what I want to talk about now is if you've done this, one of the things you should start doing is go without a safety net and actually do this on the form itself of the song as it goes by, as it passes by. Namely, you could do this in two ways. You could do it in absolute scale degree, so always starting on the C note and go. And then when the scale changes, you start on the C again now, but the C has changed your C sharp because the scale has changed. So, and then start. I will just demonstrate this, all right? So you have an idea what I'm doing. So this is disaffinado at 140. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Start on C sharp then. And start on C again. C again. As the scale changes, I'm adjusting. Not the best example. See, now my natural tendency, my natural ears will want me to hear this on the different scale degrees that happen through the song, which is exactly the step first step. You can do this absolutely and just start on the C and start on the absolute and not relative step. The second step of the scale, meaning it's a C, it's a C. The other relative step you might want to do is, we've considered that this is an F major, so this is the 5th. So you can say, I'm going to start on the 5th of every chord that comes my way and keep that motif going. Of course, that's the first motif of the song. You could do this with all the motifs. So let me put this back on. Sorry, having trouble with my iReal Pro here. The window. Technology. Okay, got it. Let me show you how it feels to start on the 5th of each chord and use the same motif. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one's easy. And this is the 5th of G. It's the 5th of G again. Then the 5th of A, minor 7 flat 5. Sorry. G. Fifth of G7, then we're back to F. You can't believe how hard it is doing this and talking at the same time. It's crazy. So the first exercise was actually going absolute. Second exercise might be to go relative. And then the third exercise might be to do this at will anywhere you are within the form, so long as you employ the good fragment, the good motif. You might wind up not on the fifth of the scale. You might wind up high or low on the fretboard, which entails you must know your scales in and out everywhere. And if you don't, well, this is a great place to start to get to nail them. So I'm going to demonstrate for the first 16 bars on this. Then I'm going to tell you a little bit of story with a workshop I had with a famous jazz guitarist. So let me do, I will just follow my inspiration in my ears and ensure that it's the same motif, but it goes through the right notes of the scale. Unprepared, no safety net. Something like that. So you see that I simply followed where I thought the line would go best and focused on this is a motif, this is a motif, this is a motif. Oh, it's in a different spot in the form. Fine. It's in different spot on the fretboard. Fine. It's a different scale degree. Oh, I played the wrong note. My finger up my nose. I'm like, sorry. So you see that's how you can really push it. And now to tell you where actually this came from, and I mean, it's not really rocket surgery. It's just you're playing the tune. Actually, you can't be playing the tune more than that because you're playing on the changes of a song that you're using the melody from to construct motifs on it. So you're right on, and that's what a big part of melody is about, is developing an idea. It's theme and development. You know, since time immemorial. It's like Mozart has done this on Twinkle Twinkle, and there's variations going on. It's still Twinkle Twinkle, but we're varying on it, right? So if you can solo from that standpoint and take these more advanced exercises, you can really develop. In the first part, you develop all your ammos. It's like you have your gun here and got all these bullet cases behind you, and then, as I like to say, Brad Meldau does, it's like now you're looking at this and you're just choosing to fire someone with a 9mm instead of a bazooka. It's like the bazooka will come later. We have all the time in the world. So you're not in a rush to play all these scales and these arpeggios. You're just like, let me play the tune. And imagine, I've done this now for the first 16 bars on the guitar, and I've employed da-da-da-da-da, but I could have done ba-da-da-dee-ba-ba, ba-da-da-dee-ba-ba, ba-da-da-dee-da-da, right? So you can start to disregard rhythms or at least play with them, and you can start to see different scales that would fit, and you can start to hear how the same motif takes form on a different part of the scale. I think you're starting to get the idea. So back about 7 or 8 years ago, we had a workshop with Gilad Excelman, link here, check him out, really, really strong player. And that guy is a bit younger than me, was he was 23 at the time, pretty young, from Israel, and lived in New York for a while. I don't know if he's still around and touring, but he gave us a master class, and I believe it must have been Stella by Starlight. And he done this. He's done it right in front of us. Like, look, Stella by Starlight has 10 or so melodic motifs. Could you take one motif and carry it through the form while improvising a little bit around it? And take the second one, third one, and do them for all. So if so, you are actually extracting all the juices from that song and getting all your inspiration from that song, and not, once again, reinventing the wheel at every bar and change running and licks and this and that. It's like, no, you're playing on the song. And of course, this has to be done masterfully and with taste to make sense. But this is a great approach to, as I was saying in the beginning of the video, avoid sounding like a fool and using that bebop approach on tunes that you don't have much, you don't have any handles. You're trying to climb a rock, but you can't find any good spots to grip. So you start just messing around playing on the scales. Like, well, if you really know your scales, you can carry these patterns together. All right, so I hope this makes sense for the most advanced parts. And now let's jump to the demonstration portion. All right, guys, here's the demo portion. So this is approximately 4 minutes long. I'm going to take it up twice through the form of desafinado in F. So I'm, of course, not pretending to be a master jazz improviser, but I'm trying to show you a little bit of what it could be improvising by thinking of motifs rather than always thinking of arpeggios and scales. Like, it's a linear approach to improvising on the sounds of the scales as we've been talking in this video. So here we go. See you on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4. right, thank you for watching, guys. If you've been sticking around all this long, I always appreciate your patronage on these lessons. Please share this video lesson with anyone you think might like it. And please subscribe to this YouTube channel here and make sure you activate the subscription button with the little bell so you get the notifications. And I will see you soon on the blog, jazzguitarlessons.net. Improve your jazz guitar playing with a real teacher. Take care and see you next time.